What if I told you the reason he's not texting back, the reason he's pulling away, the reason he's no longer chasing you is because you're doing too much? Hey beautiful, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to turn everything you've been taught about love, effort and relationships on its head. Because here's something most people won't say out loud. Chasing a man destroys attraction. Period. Now, I know you've heard that if you like someone, you should show it, that love takes effort, that playing hard to get is childish. But here's what really happens. When you chase him, you disrupt his natural instinct to pursue you. You come off with please choose me energy, and without meaning to, you end up being the one left waiting at the bottom of his list. Let me ask you this, have you ever noticed how, the moment you stop caring, he suddenly reaches out? When you don't reply right away, he calls. That's not random, that's polarity. That's basic human psychology at play. In today's video, I want to show you how to stop chasing a man without becoming distant, how to move into your natural magnetic feminine energy, and how silence and softness can express more than words ever could. So if you've ever begged for answers, overthought every text, or felt like you're always the one keeping the connection alive, you're in the right space. Get cozy, grab a pen, because what you're about to learn is the quiet power that will make him chase you like he never has before. Let's talk about what really happens when you're too available. And no, this isn't about playing games or acting like you're busy when you're not. This is about the message your constant presence sends and why it's slowly pushing him away. When you're always the first one to message, always saying yes to plans, or instantly replying every time he reaches out, what you're actually showing him without even noticing is that your world centers around him. It signals you don't really have to try. I'm already here. And even if your actions come from love, enthusiasm, or simply kindness, the truth is this: people value what they must earn. When something or someone is easily accessible, the brain automatically sees it as less special. It's human nature. Think about it. Why do people wait hours for exclusive events or pay more for limited edition items? Scarcity creates value. Too much availability does the opposite. Being too present removes the mystery. It erases the anticipation, the wonder, the slow burn. And all those things matter deeply when it comes to creating attraction. Men, by their natural design, are built to pursue. If there's no challenge, there's no victory. And if there's no reward, their interest drops. Even worse, being too available might make you feel underappreciated. You'll start noticing delayed replies, cancelled plans, or a strange distance. And now you're the one overthinking. But it didn't start with his silence. It began with giving too much too fast. And now you're left waiting for the kind of attention you once received without asking. So what can you do? It's not about becoming cold or fake. It's about slowing down, mirroring his energy, and letting space exist so he has a chance to feel your absence. You don't need to chase love. You need to allow it to flow toward you. By stepping back just a little, you create space for desire to grow. You give room for wonder to build. And most importantly, you start earning the kind of respect and admiration that only comes when someone knows their own value. So no, being extra available won't make him love you more. It makes him feel like you're always there. And that means he doesn't have to earn your presence. And love that comes too easy, love that isn't earned, often doesn't get treasured. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in feminine energy, but it's wildly underestimated. We're taught to explain ourselves, to fix things, to keep the connection going no matter what. But real feminine strength lies in your ability to pause, to not immediately react, to let the silence sit without rushing to fill it. When a woman chooses silence, she becomes a mirror. She allows a man to sit with the lack of her voice, her presence, her attention, and in that quiet space, he starts to feel, he begins to think. He leans in. That's the moment real pursuit begins. Feminine silence doesn't mean you're being cold. It's not about using silence to punish. It's about a calm confidence that says, I don't need to prove anything. It's a quiet self-trust that knows your energy alone is enough. You don't need to over-explain, overshare, or emotionally pour out everything just to stay connected. Your mystery begins to speak louder than anything you could say. Your calmness whispers, I trust myself. I'm not here to convince you. That's what builds polarity. Men are used to being emotionally pursued. They're used to women expressing their feelings, seeking answers, or trying to hold the emotional weight of the connection. But when you go quiet, not with bitterness, but with peace, you break that cycle. Now you're not reacting. You're not chasing, you're receiving. And everything begins to shift. He starts noticing the silence more than he noticed your words. He replays the last interaction. He reaches out, not because you're trying, but because you're not trying anymore. Silence gives you the time to reconnect with yourself. It gives him a moment to rise up. It offers the relationship a reset, one that's built on balance and not desperation. So the next time you feel like chasing answers or defending your emotions, pause. Let silence carry the message for you. Sometimes it communicates everything you need and more. There's a huge myth that softness equals weakness. That if you're gentle, you'll be taken for granted. That if you show care or speak kindly, people will think you're naive. But real softness, the kind that comes from feminine strength, is not about being passive. It's rooted in self-awareness and emotional strength. Being soft doesn't mean ignoring your needs or saying yes to everything. It doesn't mean accepting treatment that feels wrong. It means you stay connected to your heart, even when it's easier to become hard. It's choosing to stay open when the world pushes you to close off. And men don't fall in love because of pressure. They fall because of emotion. And softness creates the space for deep emotional connection. It makes you feel nurturing and powerful at the same time. It says, I'm strong enough to remain soft even when life gets hard. You don't have to be the loudest to be noticed. You don't need to be harsh to earn respect. Often, the women who say the least have the strongest energy. Their calmness pulls people in. Their softness is felt. And their boundaries, though not loud, are firm. Your softness is not a weakness. It is your power. When you truly embrace it, you become unforgettable. Not because you demanded attention, but because you radiated rare strength with grace. There's always that moment in every connection when something changes, when you stop showing up the same way, and suddenly he starts paying closer attention. It's not when you post that perfect photo, it's not when you try harder, it's not when you pour your heart into a long message, it's when you stop giving your energy freely, not out of anger, but from quiet respect for yourself. That's the shift. Men are very tuned into energy. He might not realize it consciously, but he feels when you've pulled back emotionally. When you stop overgiving, overthinking, and constantly being there, he notices the change, even if you say nothing at all. When you stop showing up with energy that says, please see my value, it rattles him. Not because you're playing games, but because he senses a truth. Your presence was never something he was owed. It was always something he was fortunate to have. And the beauty of this shift is in how subtle it is. You're still warm, you're still kind, but your access becomes limited. You're no longer texting first. You're no longer reacting right away. You're no longer trying to keep his attention. You've taken your power back, and now he feels it. He starts wondering why you're quieter, why you're not as available, and that little bit of wonder ignites something in him. He starts chasing. Not because you asked him to, but because you stopped asking at all. This quiet shift also speaks volumes. It says, I believe in myself more than I need you to believe in me. That kind of energy is rare. It doesn't scream. It attracts. And to be clear, this isn't manipulation. It's not an act. It's a return to self. It's choosing you emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's no longer seeking to be picked because you already picked yourself. It's a soft, confident shift, a calm stepping back that says, I'm not chasing, I'm watching. And believe me, he feels it. He feels the absence of your effort. He may not say it out loud, but he'll test the waters. He'll try to come close again. And that's how you'll know the shift worked. Because the most powerful move you can make isn't dramatic or emotional. It's simply returning your energy to yourself. It's the choice to relax, to lean back. And when you do that, he won't just notice, he'll chase. Mixed signals are one of the most draining parts of modern dating. One moment he's fully in, calling, texting, giving you attention. Then suddenly he's distant, inconsistent, busy. You're left wondering, was it something I said? Should I reach out? Is he losing interest? And before you know it, you're giving more just to keep things going. But here's the truth nobody tells you. When a man is inconsistent, no amount of words can fix it. Your over-explaining won't clear things up. Your vulnerability won't pull him closer. In fact, the more effort you put into decoding him, the more power you quietly hand over. The antidote to mixed signals is silence. Not silence out of anger, not the cold shoulder, but silence as a boundary. Silence as self-respect. Silence is the most graceful, feminine response to uncertainty. Because here's what mixed signals really are. Emotional bait. They keep you involved, confused, and emotionally attached without giving you any clear direction. It's a cycle where you keep trying to earn consistency from someone who should be offering it freely, but when you stop reacting, when you choose stillness over chasing clarity, you completely flip the dynamic. Your silence sends a very clear message. I don't tolerate confusion, and that message is loud. When a man senses he no longer has access to your emotional energy, something changes in him. He begins to realize that your attention is a privilege, not a right. And instead of continuing the breadcrumb trail of half effort and unclear feelings, he is forced to do one of two things: rise to the occasion or walk away completely. Either way, your silence brings you clarity without the emotional exhaustion of always seeking answers. What makes silence so powerful is that it doesn't beg, it doesn't plead, and it doesn't break down trying to prove its value. It simply exists. It's presence without performance. And in that space, a man begins to feel what he was avoiding, the consequences of being unsure about you. The reason most women fear silence is that they think it means rejection or being forgotten. But silence isn't passive, it's strategic. It's giving the relationship room to breathe, to show its true colors. Because someone who really cares about you won't stay confused for long. He will feel the absence of your warmth and want it back. Not because you chased him, but because you didn't. Mixed signals stop working when there's no one left to decode them. When you stop reacting to the highs and lows and instead pull back your energy, you stop being part of his emotional game, you take back your peace. You stop spinning your wheels, waiting for him to show up the way you hoped he would. In your silence, you're not doing nothing, you're doing the most powerful thing you can do. You're protecting your softness, keeping your dignity, and creating space for clarity to find you. So the next time his messages get shorter, his calls become rare, or his energy just feels off, don't panic. Don't try to fix it. Let your silence speak. Let him feel what life is like when he doesn't have easy access to you. And if he doesn't notice, if he doesn't step up, that silence just saved you months of heartache. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is say absolutely nothing. You don't have to explain every boundary you set. In fact, some of the strongest boundaries are the ones you never say out loud. They are simply felt. They live in your energy, in your behavior, in what you allow and what you walk away from. Boundaries without words are quiet acts of self-respect that speak loudly without a single conversation. Many women are taught to be nice, to please, to avoid upsetting others. So when it's time to set a boundary, guilt often shows up. You over-explain, you overcompensate, you soften your no to sound more like a maybe. But here's the truth. When your boundaries come from self-worth, they don't need permission or explanation. For example, when a man texts you at midnight after ignoring you all day, you don't need to write a long message about how you deserve better. You simply don't reply. When someone keeps canceling plans last minute, you don't have to confront them with a speech. You just stop making yourself available. When the energy isn't steady, you don't beg for it to change. You adjust your access. This is what non-verbal boundaries are all about. They aren't about punishment or control. They're about alignment. They show, not tell, how you expect to be treated. The right people will notice those changes, feel them, and respond accordingly. The wrong ones will either push harder or disappear completely. Both reactions give you important information. What makes these boundaries so strong is that they come from calm, not chaos. You're not reacting. You're not trying to prove a point. You're simply moving in a new direction. That kind of energy is magnetic. It shows you value your peace more than attention, that you'd rather be alone than tolerated, that you don't need someone else to validate your needs before honoring them yourself. A woman who holds boundaries without words is a woman who knows her power. She doesn't have to announce it. It's in the way she carries herself, the way she pauses before answering, the way she protects her time and energy like the precious things they are. This doesn't mean you never talk. Of course, honesty and clarity have their place in healthy relationships. But not every situation needs a conversation. Sometimes the boundary is simply this: I don't respond to disrespect. I don't chase confusion. I don't overextend myself when I'm not appreciated. You don't owe anyone an explanation for treating yourself with care. You don't have to convince anyone to respect you. Your energy will do that on its own if you let it. And here's the magic. When you live with quiet boundaries, you attract people who just understand. People who don't push, who notice your silence and adjust, who see your value because you've shown it, not by talking about it, but by living it. So next time someone tests your limits, ask yourself, do I need to explain, or do I just need to walk away? Do I need to defend my standards or just hold them? Your softness doesn't mean you have to accept everything. Your warmth doesn't mean you have to put up with inconsistency. You can be kind and still have limits. You can be loving and still say no. And when you do it without drama, without noise, just quiet, steady self-respect, it feels different. That's the kind of woman who attracts love without chasing it. There is a certain type of woman a man never forgets. She doesn't beg. She doesn't chase. She doesn't over-explain or try to prove her value. She simply leans back, holds her energy like it's gold, and trusts her worth so deeply that even if he pulls away, she stays calm. That woman is the one he always comes back to. It's not magic, it's energy. Once you learn how to use that energy, you'll notice a pattern. The same men who once drifted or seemed unsure begin circling back. They start to miss your softness, your peace, your mystery. And the reason is simple. Your absence taught them more than your presence ever could. When a man senses you are no longer emotionally available, when he feels the shift from your warmth to your stillness, it triggers something inside him, especially if he's used to you always showing up first, always making it easy, always being there. The moment you stop doing all that, without drama or announcing your exit, he feels it. He starts to wonder why you're different now, why you're not texting, why you're not reacting. That curiosity grows into reflection, and that's when the chase starts again. Not because you tricked him, but because you stepped back into your power. This isn't about playing games. It's not about controlling him. It's about holding your standards. It's about knowing that if he really values you, he'll notice your silence. He'll notice your distance, and he'll act, because real interest doesn't stay comfortable with space between. Here's the truth. Men are drawn to women who know when to walk away, not from anger, but from self-respect. That graceful exit, that calm silence creates a vacuum. Energy always fills a vacuum. The more you pull back, the more he leans in. Not because you asked him, but because he feels what he's losing. He remembers how you made him feel safe, seen, wanted, and he realizes those feelings aren't easy to replace, especially when you're no longer giving them freely. And that's when the messages start coming, the casual check-ins, disguised as something small because he wants to see if the door is still open. The more grounded you are in your feminine energy, the more easily this happens. Because you're not waiting, you're not obsessing, you're living, you're glowing. You've taken back your emotional space and turned it inward toward your peace, your passions, your joy. And that's exactly what makes you irresistible. What pulls him back isn't the effort you make toward him. It's the effort you make toward yourself. So, yes, watch him come back. Watch him realize what he lost when he thought you'd always be there. Watch him reappear, not because you chased him, but because you finally stopped. You gave him a chance to feel the space your energy used to fill. And remember, just because he comes back doesn't mean you have to let him in. The real win isn't just getting him to return. It's being so rooted in your worth that you get to decide if he still deserves access to your heart. Because once a woman remembers her power, she never has to beg for love again. Now that you've learned how to embody softness, how to respond to mixed signals with silence, and how to create unspoken boundaries that demand respect, let's bring it all together. This journey isn't about changing him. It's about realigning with yourself. Here's what you need to remember. The version of you who is calm, grounded, radiant, and not attached to outcomes is the version who wins. That's the woman who doesn't chase, doesn't overthink, and doesn't doubt if she's enough. She knows she is, and from that energy, she attracts men who want to earn a place in her life, not just take up space temporarily. If a man is confused about you, don't try to convince him. If he's distant, don't chase him. If he's inconsistent, don't question your value. Your power lies in what you don't do. No response is a response. Silence is a statement. And when you hold your energy with purpose, the world around you starts to respond differently. So what should you do next? Start by making a quiet promise to yourself. Promise you won't seek love by effort, by proving yourself, or by sacrificing your need. Promise to stop showing up where you're only partly valued. Promise to choose peace over chaos every time. This doesn't mean you close your heart. It means you open it to the right things. To men who are clear, intentional, and emotionally safe. To relationships that feel like rest, not survival. To love that flows toward you naturally, not one you have to chase. You are allowed to choose yourself again and again. And the most beautiful part? When you do, everything starts to change. You stop tolerating confusion, you stop explaining your worth, you stop dimming your light just to be seen, you become magnetic without trying. If a man returns after feeling your absence, watch his actions, not his words. The real change happens when you no longer get emotionally pulled back by apologies or temporary effort. You sit back, observe, and let him show you who he really is. And most importantly, you give yourself full permission to walk away if it no longer fits your truth. So as you finish this, take a breath, come back to your body, remember who you are, and remind yourself you never have to fight for love. The love meant for you will feel clear, safe, and right. Until it comes, be that love for yourself.